What is going on, good people? So last week was the Kentucky Derby, and whether you were watching the races or into the races or not, you had to have caught a glimpse of that infield. And whew, my goodness, was it on fire. So you can have that exact same lawn in your personal lawn. Yep, you can have one just like the infield of the Kentucky Derby, and I've shown it to you. I've shown you how to grow all of those cultivars. That's right, the Kentucky Derby was brought to you by MVS Seed. All of those cultivars that were there that you saw in the infield were MVS Seed cultivars. So let's jump into it and let's talk about all the cultivars and blends that you can also have in your lawn from MVS Seed. As we get into talking about all of these cultivars that you can have in your lawn from MVS Seed, let's start with the new kid on the block. This is gonna be the iconic perennial ryegrass. So you all saw me seed this last fall in my test plot. One of the things that I can say about that seed is that it has a very fast germination. 3.5 days, it was up and growing. You could see the grass blades coming up. This is a 100% perennial ryegrass blend. You will find that it does have a lateral spread cultivars in it, so it will self-repair minor divots and open spaces throughout time. I have experienced that because I did have some areas that had a little bit of snow mold from the winter and had a couple of divots and things in there, and it has filled in nicely and will continue to do so throughout the season. So one of the hands down best things about this seed is the color. The color is amazing. So when it comes to the color, even cutting at a lower height of cut, which I'm cutting this at 1 inch, it still has amazing color and stripes to no end, even at that height of cut. Some of the things that you can count on when you purchase this seed is that you will have amazing color, the ability to cut low, self-repairing capabilities, and the fact that it also is a fast germinating seed, so you're not gonna have to wait a long time for it to get up and growing. I haven't grown this seed here in the transition zone before, and I just planted it last fall, so stick around to the channel and we'll see how it performs during the heat of the summer. So now let's jump to the opposite end of the spectrum, the one that I have the most experience with, and it's gonna be the 100% tall fescue blend Optimum. So this is a 4 cultivar 100% tall fescue with some lateral spread cultivars in there. So you can expect some of that self-repairing on minor areas, and I have experienced that in my lawn. I've been running these seed cultivars for almost 5 years now, and they have never failed me with the proper management. I've recommended this to you all for a number of years, and a lot of y'all are out there growing it already and are thoroughly satisfied with the results that you're getting. So with this tall fescue blend, you're also gonna get that amazing color. You're also gonna get deep rooting, which is gonna help with that drought tolerance as we start to get into the hot summer months, especially here in the transition zone. If you go through those drought periods or you do not have irrigation, this is a good option for you on that one. And another unique thing about this blend is it has the ability to be cut low. This is very unique when it comes to tall fescue. Last season, you can go back and check out the videos. I actually cut this at 1.25 inches the entire season, and it survived through a almost 2-month drought without us having any rain. I did have irrigation, and I do recommend irrigation when you are cutting that low with a tall fescue blend. So if you are looking for a staple, especially in the transition zone, drought tolerance, disease resistance, ability to cut low if you would like to, along with amazing color, the staple of Optimum tall fescue would be a great option for your lawn. Now let's talk about the blend that I have the second most experience with, and that is going to be the 365 SS. This 365 SS, one of the top tier Kentucky Bluegrass blends. So it is 100% Kentucky Bluegrass. You can look for germination between 5 and 7 days, a little bit longer than your tall fescue, but you can look for it having that kind of sprout and pout that Kentucky Bluegrass is known for. It doesn't last that long, but you may have a couple of days after germination where it just kind of sits there and doesn't grow very much. And then all of a sudden it just explodes with growth. So pretty typical of Kentucky Bluegrass on that front, except it has a very quick germination to get that process going. In addition to that, this is a very aggressive blend of Kentucky Bluegrass. It does spread. So I even recommend adding some KBG into your tall fescue blends, even throughout the transition zone, to make sure you're getting some of that self-repairing capability. And it also has a very dense canopy and carpet-like feel. So if you're adding that into another blend, or if you're running it on its own, you can guarantee that you're gonna have a nice dense canopy with that carpet-like feel from your house to your outdoor. One of the things that I've experienced with this Kentucky Bluegrass is the color. The color is hands down amazing. I would probably put this color right behind the perennial ryegrass blend. And as you know, perennial ryegrass is known for color. And for me to put another KBG right behind it says a lot. So if you need to see more of this Kentucky Bluegrass blend, you probably could just turn on your local sports channel or even ESPN and see it on some of the most prominent sports fields that are out there. This blend is used on a number of professional fields. So again, that's gonna say a lot for the quality of this blend. The fourth cultivar that was in the infield of the Kentucky Derby is just a single cultivar, and it is very different from the first three blends that we talked about. All of those were cool season. This is actually a warm season cultivar, and it is, you probably guessed it, IronCutter Bermuda. So I've shown you all how to sprig IronCutter Bermuda. If you have not seen that, you can go back and check out the playlist where I did a full renovation on my pop's front lawn, which was 20,000 square feet with IronCutter Bermuda from MVP Genetics. So I've had about 2 years, almost 3 years of experience working with this Bermuda grass. And one of the things that I can say is it is very aggressive when it comes to filling in. It does have a higher cold tolerance than a lot of the Bermuda grasses that are currently out there on the market. And I would say that the hands down top thing that most homeowners and sports fields are gonna like about IronCutter Bermuda is the natural dark green color. A lot of the times when you look at Bermuda grass, it tends to be a little lighter in color in comparison to the cool season lawn. But when you put IronCutter Bermuda up against some of the other Bermudas that are on the market, it definitely stands out. And you can see this comparison that even Pete Denny down in North Carolina had it compared up against some Tiff Tuff, and you can definitely see there is a difference in the color. In addition to the naturally dark green color that IronCutter has, you can expect to get a very soft and fine leaf blade on the texture of the leaf. It's one of the things that I really do like about it, and especially when you're walking through it barefoot, it just feels amazing on the foot. If you're in a transition zone and you have those areas that are full sun, no irrigation, and you're looking for minimum inputs and maintenance, I highly recommend that you consider choosing an IronCutter. If we wanted to talk about downsides to IronCutter, it is only a vegetative cultivar, which means there is no seed that's available. You would have to establish this either from side, sprigs, or plugs. But to be honest with you, I've already shown you how to grow it from sprigs. So with that, you can just follow along how I did it, and you can definitely get you some sprigs and go down with the IronCutter. It is very similar to actually using seed, and in my opinion, when it comes to Bermuda, it is actually better than seeding and would get you the result that you're looking for with less water and a quicker time frame than when using seed. So now that we've talked through how the infield of the Kentucky Derby looked so amazing, it was all from Mountain View Seed and MVP Genetics. So you can also find any of these blends under the names of Iconic, which is the perennial ryegrass blend, 365 SS, which is the Kentucky bluegrass blend, Optimum, which is the tall fescue blend, or IronCutter, which is the Bermuda cultivar. So when you combine the best of the best, you can only expect that you're gonna have some amazing results. The reason that I am so familiar with the tall fescue blend and also the 365 SS is because I have been mixing those together for a number of years, almost 5 years. And last fall, I brought this all Mountain View Seed cultivar mixture to the market in a 90-10 blend of tall fescue to KBG. So you can find any of these individual blends that I've discussed in this video, along with the elevated lawn mix, or the Elm Street Elite as we like to call it, linked down in the description below, and you can find out all that information for purchasing. So if you're looking to have some of these Mountain View Seed cultivars in your lawn and either match your favorite sports field or the Kentucky Derby infield, make sure that you're considering Mountain View Seed and MVP genetic cultivars for your lawn. All right, y'all, as I always say, just know we work.